This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 8, verse 20. To the law and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them. And that's deep. I want to start off by giving our praises to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Rakak Kadash. This is the brother Kadash. Christians, Catholics, when they say you ain't got to keep the law, well, they're not speaking accordingly to the word. It says to the law and to the testimony. They're not speaking accordingly to the law and to the testimony. Well, that's because there is no light in them. And then even, because I seen this post that was put up on Facebook, with this certain group, real famous group, and he had a man and his wife, and he was saying something about one wife and not having thoughts or side pieces or anything like that. Well, when he said that, he spoke as a man and not according to the law or the testimonies. And at that moment, there was no light in him, which he still could repent from it and he could still grow from it. So we don't, it ain't like, oh, well, there's no light in him completely. It's just meaning that he still got to grow a little bit. He got to repent from saying that, right? So this is the thing, right? And I want to go to this next precept real quick to kind of set the table. Revelations 22. This is a great one. Man, a lot of men are going to be guilty of this. This is a very great one. This is one of the most important precepts in the Bible. Revelations 22, verse 18. For I testify unto every man that heareth the words of this prophecy, just like in Isaiah 8, of this book. If any man shall add into these things, God shall add into him the plagues that are written in this book. And if any man shall take away from the words of the book of this prophecy, God shall take away his part out of the book of life and out of the holy city and from the things which are written in this book. You cannot be ashamed of the Lord. If you a man of the Lord, you cannot be ashamed of the Lord. And, this post that I had seen on Facebook, he said real men have one wife. Well, I guess I'd rather be a man of the Lord than a so-called real man to man. I'd rather be a man of the Lord instead, right? Because real man is going off feelings. That's you saying, well, I feel like or think that you're a real man. Well, what is a real man? Well, a real man is a man of the Lord that follows the word of the Lord. If the Lord said that we can have multiple wives and put it in our laws how to deal with having multiple wives, and even gave King David multiple wives, King Solomon multiple wives, Jacob multiple wives, then we can have multiple wives. There's no way around it. It doesn't matter if it's 70 AD, if it's 2000 or 2023, it doesn't matter. The Lord law stands, because if you don't speak according to what it say, the law and the testimonies, there's no life in you. And I see a lot of different camps say that. They say you shouldn't have multiple wives right now. Well, at the moment they say that, that's taking away from the word. Because what are you basing that off? Are you basing that off the word? Does the word say that you should not have multiple wives from the year 2000 to 2023? But before that, Israelites, y'all can have multiple wives. It does not say that in the Bible. So that would be taking away from the word, because the Lord say we can have multiple wives, and then you saying that we shouldn't do in this time. That's taking away from the word based off feelings. You see, there's a lot of amongst Israel right now, there's a lot of feelings going on. It's a lot of shit about people feelings going on. Not just following the Lord, following the Bible. It's all about feelings. Well, I feel this way, or this make these people feel this way. So I'm going to teach this doctrine because this is going to get women to come to our camp, and we know women are some of the biggest spinners. You know what I mean? Hey, and it's not an office, man. If King David can have multiple wives, the least brother in Israel can have multiple wives. The law is not dealing with it's not dealing with respective persons, man. That's what you guys are doing. Well, a brother gotta be this and that, and then he can have multiple wives. But a brother that work at Popeyes, he can't take care of multiple wives. He can't have multiple wives. Yes, he can. Why can't he? And why can't he take care of multiple wives? You work at Popeyes making $12 an hour. You got a home. You got food in there. You got power. Why can't you have multiple wives under that same roof? I remember as a young man, when I got my first apartment, I was able to take care of two women if I wanted to. I make $18 an hour somewhere. I was able to take care of two women if I wanted to. I ain't gotta be having them, living a rich celebrity lifestyle if that's what you mean. Cause taking care of women just like taking care of children is basic, the basics. That's what is required of us. Not that you gotta give her this celebrity type lifestyle and now you gotta try to afford that. No, the woman's supposed to be in order, man. And men are gonna take multiple wives in the end days when we don't have nothing. So how can you say it's based off your status or something like that? Because what does this say? Let's go back to the book of Isaiah. Right? Because all hell is going to break loose. You're going to lose everything, especially if you don't take the mark of the beast. Right? Isaiah 4 and 1. It says, and in that day, 7 women should take hold of one man, saying, and this is, you got to look at this as before we get in the kingdom, and this is going to happen when we're in the kingdom too. So it's going to happen before when we're in the wilderness, and then it's going to lead into the kingdom. So when we're in the wilderness, we're not going to have the luxury things. You're going to be made low for a point of time until we get to the kingdom. But it says, in that day, 7 women should take hold of one man. What's going to make these women do that? Well, they're going to be humble because they're going to lose everything. And like it says in Isaiah 13, wives are going to be ravished. So they're going to want to get with, especially a man of the Lord that has that wisdom, understanding, and has the shield and the hedge of the Lord. They're going to want to get with these men of the Lord in order to survive and get salvation. Because what does it say? It says the woman can be saved due to what? Childbearing. So they're going to want to get with the man to take away their reproach, which is their disgrace. But those men, and we ain't going to have a lot, but we gonna be promised a lot. You see what I'm saying? It says we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Right here it says 7 women should take hold of one man, and they gonna get their own food and wear their own apparel. Just like a Proverbs, 31 woman, a virtuous wife. So if they say they gonna do for themselves, then how can you put a stipulation on a man and say you can't have multiple wives unless you have enough money to have them live in a certain type of life? What does it really take to take care of a woman? Is it based off what she wants? No. Because right here it says they going to eat their own. They going to wear their own bread and wear their own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach. Because in reality, if you got 7 wives, that makes the man stronger. Those wives aren't just being took care of by this man that's sitting at the top and he's taking care of these 7 wives. These 7 wives actually contribute and come together as him as being the head, and then the whole family goes up. That's how it works, man. Right? And it says, in that day shall the branch of the Lord be beautiful and glorious, and the fruit of the earth shall be excellent and comely for them that are escaped of Israel. So this is going to be a great thing when this happens. So for the brother that's why I'm saying you'll see guys that be elders, they be in the truth for years and years and years. That does not mean that they the elect, man. It does not mean it, because I'm seeing guys that's grown, but they going off their feelings. And this guy, just posted this with a man and a wife and said, real men have one wife. But what does the man of the Lord say, though? Fuck what real men have. What do the man of the Lord have? You see what I'm saying? And that's considered taking away from the word. You're taking away from the word with that. You can't put a stipulation, say, yeah, right now you shouldn't be having multiple wives. No, because if it's being a martyr, right? If you would die for the law, you can't turn around and say, well, it doesn't benefit you, so we only keep the law when it benefits us. So we pick and choose what parts to keep when it's beneficial. But if it's not beneficial right now and it don't make sense right now, then you ain't gotta follow it. What? That don't make no sense. Because what if the Lord sends a second wife to you? What if the Lord ordains a second wife to you for you to have multiple wives? You're going to deny her because you're going to say, well, right now, we not following that one. Right now, we not doing that one. See, you got to go off the spirit, man. And you can't go off the spirit if you start taking away from the word. Whatever's in here, it says, we'll say in Isaiah 8:20. The testimony, the law, to the law and the testimony. Don't add to it. Don't take away from it. A lot of brothers think that they in good standings because they're not adding to it. But what about taking away from it? Are you taking away from it? Isaiah 8:20 again. to the law and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this word, it's because there is no light in them. So when I'm speaking, I'm teaching, I'm gonna teach you what's in this Bible, man. If you can have multiple wives, I'm gonna teach that because that's in the Bible. I'm not finna say, well, yeah, brother, but don't be doing that right now. No, because that's not in the Bible. I'm gonna just teach it how it is in the Bible. You can feel however you want to feel about that. And you know, there's a lot of differences when it comes to that. Because even when you go to Deuteronomy 21, I believe, or 22, you know, when it talked about that law, if you know what I'm talking about, if you have ears to hear, you know, a lot of brothers got their feelings about that, but they shouldn't have, because the camp that was popular for teaching that, they was just teaching you what it says in the law. They didn't add to it or they didn't take away from it. You guys are mad because you guys want to take away from it because, well, our people suffer with this today. That don't matter. That's your feelings. What does it say? What does the law say? Our people suffer with a lot of things. Our people suffer with a lot of things today. If we gonna use what our people suffers today as an excuse, then we ain't really got to keep none of these laws then, because our people suffer with a lot of different things today. So you can say, well, our people suffer with worshiping celebrities and idols, you know, and Esau then set up these celebrities, the idols, for our people to look up to them, and our people suffer with that. So the law where it says don't worship idols, we ain't gonna do that one today. We ain't gonna really do that one because our people already suffer with worshiping. You see the bullshit? That don't matter, man. Just you have to follow the law. It says to the law and to the testimonies, not my words. I'm reading out the Bible. Don't add to it. Don't take away from it, man. So on the multiple wives thing, which a lot of camps try to take away from it, right? Let me pull a precept first to kind of set the table again. So you know I ain't going off my own words. We going off what the Bible says, right? Just because a guy might be popular or a part of a bigger group do not mean that he's a man of the Lord and you must follow what he say because he's a part of this big group. Man, that shit weak to me. You know what I mean? This is Isaiah 40. This is one of my favorites too. This like top 20. Verse 7, it says, "Then said I, lo, I come in the volume of the book, it is written of me." So the volume of the book. So when it says the volume of the book, some people say that it's just talking about the Old Testament and the Gospels. But I say it's the whole Bible, because even like when you go to Revelations 22, that was a prophecy. That was a prophecy when we just read Revelations 22, verse 18 and 19. That was a prophecy. So it includes the whole Bible because it's really speaking about a future prophecy. Don't add or take away from this word, not just the book of Revelations. It's a prophecy, so we look at it like it's the whole book, whatever made the Bible that the Lord ordained, because we believe the Lord has control of all these things, right? So it says, come in the volume of the book, and then, you know, you have to eat the whole roll. I believe that's in Ezekiel, right? Verse 8 in Psalms 40. I delight to do thy will, oh my God. Yeah, the law is written within my heart. So it's saying, look, I want to do your will, Lord. I'm not trying to do my will. I'm not trying to add. I'm not trying to have commandments of man. I'm not trying to take away from the word. I'm not trying to add to the word and say, well, don't do this right now. Or real man only have one wife, not thoughts, not side piece. I'm not trying to add to it, you know what I mean? Or take away from it, diminish it. I want to just do your will, Lord, because the law is written in my heart. And the law speaks about us having multiple wives. It says, I have preached righteousness. So this is actually a righteous thing. You know, you don't want to preach righteousness. Man, this precept right here is so cold, bro. Isaiah 40, starting at verse 7. 7 is a spiritual number. The seventh day, the Sabbath day, right? Man, this precept is so cold, man. But I'm not going to get the picture because I took a screenshot of the camp or the group that posted that nonsense. But I'm not going to do it because I'm advocating, you know, not gang bang and not going against each other. So it's ways that you could do things. You could still teach the truth, which this precept is about to go into. But you ain't got to like alt somebody, you know, they going to figure it out. You know, the Lord got them believing what they want to believe, and they going to figure it out, you know. But now watch how cold this precept is. We on verse 8. I'm trying to get through it. So cold. I delight to do thy will, oh my God, right? Yeah, the law is written in my heart. I have preached righteousness in the great congregation. So a lot of these camps, they got big, great congregations, right? But this is overall talking about just the congregation of Israel, right? But they don't want to preach righteousness because they looking at the righteousness as wickedness. They say, look, having multiple wives, man, you know, my congregation, they gonna kind of have a problem with this, man. So how can we figure out a way around this? Okay, we could say if you got money, basically, then you can have multiple wives. If you don't, then you can't or you shouldn't, you know. But then we gonna kind of teach against it on the low. So they come with try to tricky ways to kind of go around it because they don't want to preach the righteousness of the Lord. The righteousness of the Lord, you can have multiple wives. That's a righteous thing. Jacob, the 12 tribes of Israel were literally created from a man that had multiple wives, and we believe that was ordained by the Lord to happen. So we believe the Lord has control of that. We don't believe in free will. So the Lord set that up for Jacob to have multiple wives, or he would have just gave Jacob Rachel in the beginning, but he didn't, because we feel like the Lord controls men. So he set it up for it to be that way so Jacob could have multiple wives, so the 12 tribes could come from 4 different women, one man. That's multiple wives. We believe that the Lord gave King David his wives, gave King Solomon his wives. We believe that the Lord gave King Solomon, what did King Solomon ask for? Wisdom and knowledge. The Lord gave him wisdom and knowledge, and then guess what came after that? Riches and multiple wives and concubines. That's how it works, man. We believe that you're supposed to be one with your wife. So we believe that the Lord has a wife, whether you look at it as the southern kingdom and he has a wife, the northern kingdom, he gonna come bring the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom back together as one, like it says in Ezekiel 37, and then he's gonna become one with his wives. And then they're gonna be, and then we believe the nation of Israel is just the Lord's wife as a whole. Then we believe each tribe is a nation. It tells you that in the Bible. So each tribe, the Lord has 12 wives. Each tribe is one of his wives. And then they come together as a whole to make the children of Israel, and then that makes one wife. Let's keep going. I'm trying to get through it. It's just so cold, man. Isaiah 40, back verse 9. I have preached righteousness in a great congregation. Lo, I have not refrained my lips, O Lord, thou knowest you. I have not refrained my lips from teaching certain things, because this ain't gonna make them feel that good. This is gonna get them to stop giving me money. This is gonna get them to start leaving the camp. They're gonna go to somebody else out there that's teaching what they want to hear. So look, I'm not reframing my lips. If the Bible says we can have multiple wives and that's in the law, like Isaiah 8 just said, verse 20, if they speak not according to the law and the testimony, there's no light in them. If it's in the law, how to deal with a man having multiple wives, we can have multiple wives. Because if you say that we can't have multiple wives, you add into it, because show me in the Bible where it says a man cannot have 2 wives. A man cannot have multiple wives. You could show me stuff and you could twist it. Because a brother, he was saying how different camps, and he left the truth because brothers could go. He literally seen how brothers were able to go to the Bible and make up doctrines and make it say what they want to say. That's true. Like the year 2000, they was using the Bible to back that. The world was supposed to end in 2000. They went to the Bible and made up stuff and put stuff together and had people really believe in that. Or like not having multiple wives. If a man has one wife, or if what's the precept where it talks about a man should not have a pretty much should have a wife, and the wife should have her own husband. That's true, because look, if a man he can't have another man's wife, because he got to have his own wife, or that would be adultery. And a woman can't have another man's husband, because if she has another man's husband, that would be adultery, because you got to take it in context. That husband would be a different husband from her husband. Duh. So she can't have a husband and then go have another woman husband, because that would be another man, and that would be adultery. But it's not talking about if 2-3 women have the same husband. That's not what it's talking about. That's what you're applying. All it's saying is a man can't have another man's wife, because that's adultery, and a woman can't have another woman's husband, because that's adultery, because that husband that is speaking about right there is a different husband than the husband that she has. That would make her having 2 husbands. That's what it's talking about. But yes, a man can have multiple wives, if you get it, if the Lord put the spirit on you to understand it. All right, now let's keep going. So you can't refrain your lips, meaning you can't take away from this, man, and try to make it into something you want to make it into so you could keep getting money from the congregation. Verse 10, I have not hid thy righteousness within my heart. So when you go to the laws of what they claim Moses, which is it's the laws of the Lord, right? Um, but let's just say Moses, right? Put that in there, Deuteronomy 21, Exodus 21, when it talks about multiple wives and how to deal with having multiple wives, because they weren't hiding the righteousness of the Lord. They were not trying to hide it. They put it out there. This is what it is, man. It says, I have declared thy faithfulness in thy salvation. Just like right here on your screen. If you go to the right side of your screen and you go down to where it says, in rapist and his victim, and then it gives you a precept, Deuteronomy 22, verse 28, 29. Well, then if we going off how people feel, then, when that was put down as the Moses law, they should have left that out because people don't really feel good about that. No, but this is the truth of the Bible versus the lies of the Bible, right? I'm probably going to name it that. But I think I did that before. But I'm probably naming like adding to the word, taking the word away from the word, something like that, right? So let's keep going because I want to get some of these precepts that's on your screen, right? It says, verse 10, I have not hid thy righteousness within my heart. Man, go to Psalms 40. Read the whole chapter, man. Just go to Psalms 40, man. You're going to be astonished if you ain't never really. I'm pretty sure brothers have read it before, but if you just go back and study it again, you're going to be like, man, there's so much heat on that, right? Because a lot of brothers going to be guilty of all this. I have not hid thy righteousness within my heart. I have not declared thy faithfulness in thy salvation. I have declared thy faithfulness in thy salvation, because the truth is what saves you, man. Not taking away from it, not hiding it, not shying away from parts of it. I have not concealed thy loving kindness in thy truth. What it say? I have not concealed thy truth, man, from the great congregation, man, which is Israel. You not supposed to conceal the truth, man. You concealing the truth because that's not going with your agenda. You believe it behind closed doors, but you kind of concealing it because it ain't gonna make these people feel good, man, to give you their money. Right? Verse 11, watch this. Withhold not thou thy tender mercies from me, O Lord. Let thy loving kindness and thy truth continually preserve me. This is about the truth, man. Let that truth preserve you, man. Don't be scared, man. Go out there and teach the truth, what it is, man. Don't take away from it. Don't try to add to it. Don't try to get around it. Just teach what the Bible says, man. Teach Isaiah 4:1. Let's look at some of the precepts that's on your screen. Teach Genesis 2 and 24. Let's go to it real quick. Let's go to Genesis 2 and 24. Which it's... Oh, no, they don't put the precept down. It's just quoting it. Just teach the truth, man. Stop making up stuff. This is Genesis 2. And what they say, 2 and 24. Therefore shall man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. Then you ask, well, how are they one flesh if it's another woman there? Well, how are the 12 tribes one with the Lord when there's 12 different tribes? There should just be one tribe, right? Same thing, man. Get the fuck out of here. All right, let's keep going. Right, so then right under that it says men, wives, and concubines. So it said Abraham had 2 concubines. Abraham had a wife, and he had a concubine. So Sarah will be his wife, and Hagar would have been a concubine, which is a wife too. He had a children with her. It's like a secondary wife, they say, like a girlfriend. That's what they say. But still a wife because he had sex with her. So couldn't no other man have sex with her. Right? Gideon, Nahar, Jacob. Jacob had, the 4 wives. Right? Ephas, which I believe he had 2. I'm not sure. Let me see. Caleb, Manasseh, Solomon. Oh, they're saying how many concubines they had. Solomon had 300 concubines. or was it maybe 700 wives, 300 concubines, or maybe it was 300 wives and 700 concubines. I got to get the actual facts on that. Belshazzar. So let's go down. Man, woman plus woman property says Genesis 16. So let's go to Genesis 16. Let's do some studying together, man. I mean, you could go to Genesis 16, verse 6 says, But Abraham said unto Sarai, which Sarah, Behold, thy maid is in thy hand, do to her as it pleaseth thee. And when Sarai dealt hardly with her, she fled from her face. So let's go down. Let's go back, actually. Verse 1, Genesis 16, verse 1. Now, Sarah, Abraham's wife, because her name was changed to Sarah. So it says Sarai, Abraham's wife, bare him, it says Abram, but his name was changed to Abraham, bare him no children, and she had a handmaid in Egyptian, an Egyptian whose name was Hagar. And Sarai said unto Abram, Behold, now the Lord has restrained me from bearing. I pray thee, go unto my maid. It may be that I may obtain children by her. And Abram hearkened to the voice of Sarai. Which this is the same thing that happened with Jacob and Rachel at first. And end up happening with Leah too. And this is the same thing that happened in the book of Ruth. So an Israelite woman, like let's just say if they had a woman of another nation as their slave, which you can, which that's biblical too. Y'all don't like that either. Your wife can have a woman if you got an Israelite wife, and let's just say there's a Moabite, right? And an Asian woman, and she got an Asian woman as her friend. She could bring her in as her property, as a concubine for you and for her to help around the house, clean stuff around the house. Actually, you see this happen a lot. Esau does this a lot. When Esau has big homes and mansions, they not in there cleaning those big homes. This shit is 5,000 square foot. They not in there cleaning that shit themselves. They have servants or butlers or whatever that come, and a lot of time it be Hispanic women that come and they clean the house and they cook food and everything like that. And what happens behind closed doors is a lot of times the Edomite dad, he ends up popping the maid multiple times. That's how it happens, man. So that's come from the Bible, man. So you're not supposed to add or take away from this. So she now if we go by y'all concept, right, then she should have said no. If we just not gonna have no kids, never, because you can't never have another wife, or you can't never have sex with another woman. You only can have sex with me for the rest of your life, and only be with me for the rest of your life. We are husband and wife, because it said Abram's wife, which is Sarai, so they were husband and wife. But no, she didn't say that. She said, look, man, I got my slave, my handmaid, let's call it that, have sex with her, and let's have some children. Verse 3, and Sarai, Abram's wife, took Hagar, her maid, the Egyptian, after Abram had dwelt 10 years in the land of Canaan, and gave her to her husband Abram to be his wife. And he went into Hagar, he had sex with her, and she conceived. So he left it in. And when she saw that she had conceived, her mistress was despised in her eyes. And that happened because she was jealousy, because she didn't have kids, right? But it was all being set up for Isaac to be born from Sarah, so that could be the chosen seed. Okay, so that's a good one. So let's go to the next one. The bottom one, man, woman, 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 polygamy, right? So they have some names down there, and they kind of got something in front of it, so I can't really see. But Lamech, Esau, Jacob, some of the names I see, I'm going to the bottom. Solomon, some of the other kings, Jeroboam, Jehosh, Ahab, Jehoiachin, Belazar. So just naming some of the men that had multiple wives in the Bible, which we know Jacob is considered a righteous man, and he wrestled with an angel, man. he, he's considered a righteous man and lived. So he's considered a righteous man, and you know Solomon overall is considered a righteous man. He did go off in his old age, but his problem was he kind of had the thing like what Young Jeezy and his wife got going on. They say Young Jeezy divorced his wife or filed papers to divorce his wife. He kind of had that thing going on where he allowed his strange wives to take his heart away from the Lord. So if Young Jeezy and his wife is having power struggles in their marriage because she want him to do what she wants him to do and he wants to do what he wants to do, that she's trying to manipulate his heart to follow her way. And that's what happens a lot of times. So you could look up pictures and you see Jeezy with like the Moabite, the Asian robes on and stuff like that. You just kind of start getting into her religion and shit like that. But in reality, the way it's supposed to be is Abraham. If an Israelite man have a wife, she's supposed to come and worship the Lord God of Israel, not the other way around. You go worship Buddha. That's not the way. But that's what happened to Solomon in his old age. It wasn't the fact that he had wives, multiple wives. Okay, let's go to the top. Man, brother, widow, which we've been over this through camp. Genesis 38, verse 6 and 10. So if your brother has a wife and he dies and you don't have children with her, you gotta take her. You gotta go have sex with her, and then which is gonna make her your wife and bear a child. You know, in your brother's likeness, in your brother's stand. But she must submit sexually to him. So this is the dilemma that I pose to you if you thinking against multiple wives. So if you have a wife already in a family, and your brother dies, he has a wife, and you gotta get on your brother's ass, man. You know, tell your brother like, look, man, get a attractive wife, bro, because if you die, I gotta go take her to be a wife, man. Which you see it happen in the hood all the time, you know. Brother, a guy, he might have a close friend, a close cousin, or a close brother, right? And then he end up dying because of street shit. And then who's the first one there to comfort her? And then which ends up to turn into having sex with her. Usually it's his close friend or his cousin or his brother. That's just what it happens. You see it when niggas go to jail. What happens? They close guys start having sex with their wife because they went to jail. You seen that with the whole 6ix9ine case, and then Shotty and Treyway. 6ix9ine got took it down. Shotty was going over there having sex with his wife, which was a adultery because he didn't die. He just went to jail. But that's how it is though. If your brother, so you gotta tell your brother to have an attractive wife, bro, because you can't have, you know what I mean, an unattractive wife and then you die and you ain't had no child with her. Now I gotta go take her to be a wife and pop her and have sex with her. That's how you supposed to do it. So you could still raise up a heritage for him. Cause he ain't never get to leave a seed on this earth. But guess what? If you put your seed in his wife, your seed and your brother's seed is the same seed. Why is it the same seed? Because y'all seed come from the same place, your father. Y'all got the same father. So y'all are what y'all father are. You are what your father is. So you and your brother will both be exactly what your father is. Y'all got the same seed. You don't even know that. Unless the Lord like separate the seeds or something like that when it comes to Jacob and Esau. But y'all got the same seed. So let me pose this question. If you got a wife already and a family already, your brother died, he don't have a child, like it says in Genesis 36, verse 6 to 10, you got to go and take his wife to be a wife. That would mean you have two wives now. And it don't say, hey, well, if you ain't got enough money or you ain't high in status, then you can't. It don't matter. You have to go take his wife to be a wife. Matter of fact, let's go to it. I don't know how much space I got on my phone, so I'm trying to get through it. Genesis 36, verse 6. And Esau took his wives and his sons and his daughters. Wait, is that it? Or am I on the wrong one? Or do they got the wrong one? Genesis 38. I'm sorry. I couldn't see the it was so small. Genesis 38, verse 6. And Judah took a wife for Er, his firstborn, whose name was Tamar. Wait, is that right? Right? And Judah's firstborn, was wicked in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord slew him, killed him. And Judah said unto Ohan, go into thy brother's wife. So he told him. So the Lord killed one of them, got him out the way because he was wicked. And Judah said unto Ohan, this is what they was teaching. This is how they were following the Lord. It said, go into thy brother's wife and marry her and raise up seed to thy brother. Because he didn't leave seed, he didn't leave a heritage. So in order to keep your brother's name going and his heritage going, you would go into his wife, have sex with her, actually marry her, which now makes her your wife, and then you will be able to raise up seed when y'all have children. And Ull knew that the seed should not be his. So now that seed isn't raised up like this is Kadash's son. No, this is raised up as my brother that died. This is his son. Even though I'm the one that put the seed in her and had sex with her. Why? Because my seed is the same as my brother's seed, because both of our seed comes from our father's seed. And it came to pass when he went into his brother's wife that he spilled it on the ground. So he pulled out, lest that he should give seed to his brother. He didn't want to do that, and he was put to death because of that. It's just that simple. Because he didn't follow the Lord. Not so much pulling out, he just didn't follow the Lord. Right? So let's go to another one. Numbers, if I could see it, Numbers 31. Let's just go straight to Deuteronomy 21. This stuff about having multiple wives. So this is Deuteronomy 21. I want to pose you this question, which I spoke about this earlier, which this is a very popular one. And it says you could start from verse 11. Let me see. Really, you want to start from verse 10. It says, Deuteronomy 21, verse 10, when thou goest forth to war against thy enemies, and the Lord thy God has delivered them into thy hand, and if thou hast taken them captive, so you went to war, right? This is a war wife. A prisoner of war, right? Now let's just say you already got a wife at home. You already got a wife at home, a long time wife at home, and now you eligible to go to war, and you going to war, right? And you see another woman, right? This is the question I'm posing to you. Do we not follow this law? Now remember Isaiah 8 verse 20, they speak not according to the law or the testimonies, there is no life in them. Now verse 11 back in Deuteronomy 21. It says, and see if among a captive a beautiful woman, and has a desire to her, that thou wouldst have her to be, wouldst have her to thy wife, to be a wife. Then thou shalt bring her home in thy house, and she shall shave her head and pare her nails, and she shall put the remnant of her captivity from off her, because she's going to be your wife now, and shall remain in thy house and bewail her father and her mother a full month. You got to let her mourn for what just happened. It says, and after that thou shalt go into her, and you have sex with her, and be her husband, and she shall be thy wife. So now you got two wives. Did it say, okay, well, you only could pick one wife out of all the captive women, you only could pick one woman? Did it say that? No, it didn't say that. So what if you see two women that you like? Now let's keep going, because watch this, verse 14. And it shall be, if thou had no delight in her, then thou shalt let her go whether she will, but thou shalt not sell her at all for money. Thou shalt not make merchandise of her, because thou hast humbled her. When you have sex with a woman, you humble her. That's why we call it today, you popped her. You see what I'm saying? You humbled her. Or a lot of times, you what we say today, you took her V court. Now watch what verse 15 says. If a man have two wives, this is in the law, it says, if a man had two, it didn't say if a man had two wives, stone him. If a man has two wives, he's wicked. If a man has two wives and it's the year 2023, then he's wicked. He shouldn't be doing that. He can have, if a man has two wives all the way up to the year 2023, then, he's cool. But if it's the year 2023 and it's today, modern day, he can't do that. Shit crazy, man. Shit crazy how people get this Bible and make shit up. It says one be loved and one hated, and they have borne him children. So he got one that he's feeling good about, and one that he had baby mama drama with. This one kind of hated and shit like that. It says, and they have borne him children, both the beloved and the hated. If the firstborn son be of hers that's hated, then it shall be when he maketh his sons to inherit that which he has, that he may not make it the son of the beloved born before the son of the hated, which is indeed his firstborn. That's the firstborn law. So even if this is from the girl that you like, okay, this is my first wife, right? So you see this a lot of time with celebrities. You know, they be broke, then they got a fat, big boned wife, and then they get some money and they become a celebrity. Then they get this beautiful wife, a beautiful top 10, a 10 on the scale of 1 through 10 wife. And then when they have children by the big boned wife, right? But she kind of the hated one. They ain't really feeling her no more because now they rich and now they can have this supermodel as a wife, right? But then when the supermodel has a son, then they give that son more stuff because they with that son. That son gets the Lamborghinis and everything like that, gets the recognition of being his son and all that, get all the money. But then the wife that he had before he got rich and became a celebrity, her kids really don't get much. You know, they might get child support monthly, but that's it. You can't do that. That's wickedness. That's against the law. You have to still give the firstborn son the double portion of your heritage. So he gonna get more than the second son that you had with the wife that you love now that you became a celebrity. So that's a law that a lot of brothers don't really teach and that they conceal, and that's a big problem right now going on amongst Israel too. So man, this gets deep, man. I love this. This is getting deep. Right? So let's go to Exodus 21, which I also spoke about Exodus 21 too. I bring that up. I quoted that one. So just to let you know, we quoting these, at the same. Let me go on that because this is towards the front. Exodus 21. Just to let you know, them quotes. Sometimes I'm just quoting the scripture. I don't read it. It's still on point. This is Exodus 21, right? Which I already know this one myself, but they say start at verse 4, because really you could go to verse 10, but let's go to verse 4. It's verse 4. If a master have given him a wife, and she have borne him sons or daughters, the wife and her children shall be her masters, and he should go out by himself. So even like if you got two slaves, boom, and then you give your male slave to your woman slave, she's still the property, and those children are still the property of that master. Y'all don't like that either. And that's how Sarah was able to say, look, go Abraham, have sex with Hagar, and then bear us the children, because she was going to take claim of that child, because she couldn't have children at that time, because Hagar is the property of Sarah and Abraham, and even the child that comes from that. But they end up casting them off, and they were able to cast them off because Hagar, her son Ishmael, was property. So you see that example in the Bible. Exodus 21 verse 10. If he take him another wife, so if you already have one wife, and then you take another wife, watch this. Her food, her remnant, and her duty of marriage shall not be diminished. So if you got like you feeding her, you providing, you buying her clothes, and you allowing her to be a wife to you, you can't stop allowing her to be a wife to you just because you got another wife now. So now you got another wife, and now this your last wife, you kind of pushed her to the side. You ain't dealing with her no more. I see this on shows and movies a lot of times when me and my wife is watching these shows. A man be like, we'll watch Temptation Island or something like that, Love Island. And then a man have a woman that he came in with, then he liking this other woman, and then he's sitting there and he like, man, I gotta choose one, and every single time we get to that point, I'll always say the same thing. He should just take them both to be wives. Why you gotta choose one over the other? Just take them both to be wives. If this girl loves you, and then you met this new girl, and she's falling in love with you, why not just sit them both down and say, look, man, I love both of y'all. I don't want to diminish neither one of y'all. Like it says in Exodus 21 and 10, you want to know what? I want both of y'all to be my wives. Everybody wins. Because the moment you say, hey, my new woman, I choose you. You're going to break the heart of your old woman. Now, what's that going to lead her to do? These guys don't talk about this when they teaching against having multiple wives. What is that going to lead her to do? That's going to lead her to go out there and commit adultery. That's going to lead her to go out there and sleep from man to man, because she had this man that she loved, and her heart was broken because you left her for another woman, and now her heart is just shattered, and she's just going to go out there and just have sex with as many men as she can and be a harlot. See, they don't teach the negative side effects of that. So no, you take her, you keep her to be a wife. And the new woman, you take her to be a wife. Now you have two wives. But when you do that, you can't diminish your first wife. You can't diminish her food, her remnant, or her duty of marriage. And you can't diminish your new wife. So if you got your old wife and you taking care of her, then you got to take care of your new wife too. You can't just say, and a lot of brothers is guilty of this, and I see a lot of brothers in the truth try to find ways around this. You can't say, well, my wife right now, I love her, and look, I'm providing these things for her, but this other girl, I like her too. I want to take her to be a wife, but you ain't really treating her as a wife. You ain't really letting her have the duty of marriage. All you doing is really just meeting up with her for 10, 15 minutes, having sex with her, and then you leave. You might take her out every year, once a year, you might take her out somewhere. You know, you have sex with her, you leave, and you communicate and talk to her on the phone. But your wife at home, you got her at home, you got her a car, you making plans, you going on vacations with her. You can't do that, man. If you're gonna take this other woman to be a wife, you gotta let her to be a full wife. Or you're gonna have to set it up to where she's a concubine, which there is a difference. But you gotta let her know that you a concubine. Or you coming in as a servant to my wife. Or I'm taking you to be a wife. Difference. You know, so this is just the truth of the Bible. So we broke down, not to add or take away from the word, we broke down what the word says and the precepts to go with it. Salvation to the elect, shalom.